CBS News has learned President Trump plans to issue between 50 and 100 pardons and commutations in his final hours in office. A senior administration official said Monday they did not, quote, currently expect the president to pardon himself, but there are expected to be some controversial names on the list. Those pardons will likely come last. The president's former political aide, Steve Bannon, and top personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, could both be on the list. Loyola law professor Jessica Levinson joins me now with more. Hi there, Jessica. So President Trump insists that he has the power to pardon himself. Is that actually the case?
Well, the best answer is we don't know because no president has ever tried. So in the Constitution, it does not specifically say no self-pardons. And that's why this is somewhat of an open question. But I do want to be very clear that I think constitutionally, absolutely the better answer is that the president does not have this power. So on the one hand, in favor of saying the president has this power, is the fact that the Constitution doesn't, as we said, exempt it. And the Constitution does exempt other things, no pardons in the case of impeachment. But on the other side, in favor of saying the president doesn't have this power, is basically everything else, our fundamental understandings of the rule of law, the principle that no person is above the law, the principle that no person can be a judge in his own case, and an Office of Legal Counsel memo written right before President Nixon resigned saying, we do not think presidents have this power. There's a whole host of other reasons, but those are the main ones that I think a Supreme Court would look at this and say, this is absolutely not what the founders envisioned, and this is not constitutionally permissible.
Well, Jessica, so far, President Trump has used his clemency powers less than his past two predecessors, George W. Bush and Barack Obama. President Obama commuted the sentences of about 300 people, mostly low-level, nonviolent drug offenders. Who has President Trump used his power to help?
I think President Trump has used his power to help a different category of people, namely those who have been loyal to him, those who have shown him political support or personal support or a combination of those two. Another kind of bucket that President Trump's pardons have fallen within are people who, frankly, I think have undermined our system of what we think it means to be America. Think about Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Think about people like Michael Flynn, like Paul Manafort, who fall into both categories, frankly. Now, if you take a step back and think about the pardon power, it's in the Constitution because the framers decided that the president should be able to grant mercy, that should be able to look in situations where they thought there was a miscarriage of justice and say, you know what, the punishment just doesn't fit the crime. And that's why I think for other presidents, to your question, you see a greater number of pardons, but they're different in terms of the quality of the pardon, in terms of the substance of the pardon. So yes, we have other presidents use the power more often, but they go through the office of the pardon attorney. They look at a rubric that looks at what was the punishment, what was the crime, has there been a rehabilitation, does it make sense for society to keep this person in prison? That's not what President Trump is looking at.
Jessica, is a presidential pardon something that can theoretically be undone if President Trump pardons political aides that the next Justice Department would want to go after?
No, I think that the best answer is that you cannot undo a pardon, with the one exception of what we talked about before, a self-pardon, which may not be constitutionally permissible. The president under the Constitution has broad pardon powers. There are just no two ways about it. Now, a couple of potential limitations. One, there's the possibility that granting a pardon could in and of itself give rise to liability for bribery or for obstruction of justice. The other thing for people to remember when it comes to limitations on a pardon, not quite a limitation, but kind of a consequence, once you grant someone a pardon, then they can't use their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination for anything that would fall within that pardon. And again, the pardons can only cover federal crimes, not state crimes. But to your question, I do not think there's a way to unwind a pardon. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
All right, we await that list then. Jessica Levinson, always great to have you, Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you.